Artificial amateurs. Aren't it all amazing? Analytically, I assault, animate things. Tell me if the music is too loud and over top of our speaking or not. Does that sound good? Sounds good? Cool. Great. Wonderful.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Here we go. Is that... Yeah, so that would be my music. Coming out. Let me go.
Put the headphones on. Put the headphones on. Play music. Are you hearing it? Are you hearing music? And you're good. Okay, great. Thank you.
But they're not hearing us on the speakers. La 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 la. Hello, hello, hello.
Not getting anything.
I can't really.
Mics
No, it's
are
okay. Go,
on.
go, go.
Yeah, that one.
No, look, that's
turned
you.
to me about
Okay, I
this.
see. I'm reading upside down. Oh, okay.
There's something.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Testing, testing. Testing the speakers in house. If you hear us on the stream, hello.
I don't understand.
Trying to look at.
Music is going. Hey.
Hey, I hear you.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
Do we
you
just
hear
need to
me?
be louder?
Check an AV club. This is what the board should look like. It's an AV club. That's about all I can give you right now. I love you. That's me.
Okay, that's in the right spot. And then this is up, this is all the way down, this is midway.
I'm going to start talking because I can go through. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Arizona Roller Derby's 23rd season. Arizona Roller Derby is a nonprofit organization founded in 2003. It's the second oldest flat track league in the world. AZRD welcomes all genders, sexual orientations, races, and religions. Most of our success is an unequivocal outcome of the support of our sponsors, volunteers, and fans, just like those in attendance. Today we will have the AZRD All-Stars up against Santa Cruz Roller Derby's Boardwalk Bombshells.
That's right. And if you can hear me, we're going to go through the rosters right now. We've got Arizona Roller Derby in black. That is going to be 0, the Knockout. 01, Goldie Knox. 12, Soccer Blue. 2187, Princess Leia. 22, Mimi Mahler. 24, I'm a Blow Bayou. 25, Zombie Cat. 31, 2x4. 313, West Coast Mafia. 3381, Hella Naughty. 4, Sure Man. 44, Cherry Kiss. 5, Sunny Ono. 59, Squeezer. 7, Skatey Katie. 710, Gail Satan. 718, Raging Bajan. 84, Jaws Breaker. 88, Miss Murder. And 95, Lightning the Queen, coached by Riot and Heathen.
For the Boardwalk Bombshells, we have 1384, Heloise. 149, Catastrophifi. 15, Jeff Jen Wreckers. 21, Scandium. 22, Cleopatra Catastrophe. 26, Amanda Conda. 3, Ace Ventura. 321, Whirla Hurt. 41, Queen Letitious. 4444, Tornado 2 Spirit. 5-1, Toxic Bliss. 5-1-5, Spanish Rose. 5-9, Climax. 6-3, Switchblade Sista. 6-5, Rick the Brick. 8-2, Yoni Mitchell. 8-8-8, O'Kraken Whip. 9-1-6, Major Pain. 9-5, Splendora.
And that's the 5-second call. We're getting ready to get into the action between Arizona All-Stars and Santa Cruz Boardwalk Bombshells. And off to the races is Soccer Blue for Arizona out with lead. Meanwhile, number 6-5, that's going to be Rick the Brick, still working on getting through the defense for Arizona All-Stars. They're being pushed to the inside and takes a quick knee, but gets right back up. But still working on their initial, just as Soccer Blue makes their first lap, 4 points in the air, drawing first blood, Arizona All-Stars. And a beautiful little apex hop through for another 4 points. Santa Cruz now working on offense to get Rick the Brick out. Arizona now being split up at the front, but still has the pack reforming around Rick the Brick. Soccer Blue takes the inside lane, pushing their way out for another scoring pass. That is their third lap. Rick the Brick working on the tripod up at the front of the pack here at turn 4, getting close to the jammer line again. Soccer Blue surfing around the outside and out with 4 points. Rick the Brick being knocked to the inside lane by Amablobaya, but quickly gets back on. Both packs now on turn 1 here. Skatey Katie runs some offense to get Soccer Blue out for another scoring pass. Santa Cruz, Rick the Brick with start in hand, looking for their pivot, but Murder knocks them to the outside and recycles them back. Rick the Brick followed by their pivot close behind, trying to work some offense in there to get Rick the Brick through. Rick the Brick pushed to the outside lane. Rick the Brick following their pivot, but the pivot being knocked out of the way as well. Pivot now having to rejoin their teammates up at the front of the pack to try to contain Soccer Blue, who has been working on the highest scoring jam in the first jam of this game. And that is the 2-minute jam for Soccer Blue, picking up a solid 28 points to start off this game between Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz being kept at 0 as Rick the Brick did not get out.
Jamming next, we have Hell Louise up against West Coast Mafia. 5-second call. And here they go. West Coast looking to go up through the middle of the pack, same as Hell Louise. West Coast Mafia getting lead jammer. And there's a forearm call on what looks like one of AZRD's teams, and a penalty on the Boardwalk Bombshells jammer, heading us into a power jam. Mafia meeting some resistance there at turn 3, but breaks through and calls the jam there. Setting up AZRD for a power start this next jam.
AZRD is capitalizing on the fact that Santa Cruz has a blocker or a jammer in the Night Owl penalty box. Looks like Gail Satan has been fielded on the track for All-Stars. 5-second call. Looks like Santa Cruz trying to pull back, but gets swept from the inside by AZRD. Out Gail Satan with the initial in the bag, and now we do see the return of Heloise for Santa Cruz to the track, just as Gail Satan gets out with 4 points in the air for their first scoring pass. Heloise pushing their way up to the front, breaking through that pack, but gets knocked to the outside lane by Mimi Mahler. Gail Satan pushes their way through, out with 4 points in the air as Heloise is out on their initial. Heloise now picking up speed, trying to catch up to Gail Satan. Gail Satan working on the outside, back to the end, following their offense, and gets that last hip and out, and gone is that jam. Picking up the last 3 points, keeping Santa Cruz scoreless. We are now sitting at 47, Arizona All-Stars, Santa Cruz, 0.
All right, for jam number 4, we have Yoni Mitchell up against Soccer Blue. A 5-second call. There they go. Soccer Blue looking to push her way up through the middle. Yoni Mitchell having some trouble trying to find a space on the inside of the track, getting caught behind at turn 1. And Soccer Blue breaks out, gets lead jammer. Yoni Mitchell looks to make the pass. We got a successful pass off to... Got Catastrophifi there now. Got a 4 point. Yeah, 4 points for AZRD to 0. Bringing the score to 51-0.
Five-second call on the track. We've got Jaws Breaker for Arizona going up against 916 Major Pain for Santa Cruz. Jaws Breaker cutting in from the in to the out and out with lead just as Major Pain is being knocked to the inside lane. Number 2-1 going for the offense to assist number 961, but Major Pain being recycled by Ima Blobaya. Ooh, some whistles are going. Looks like a direction call to the pivot for Santa Cruz. So this is all on Major Pain now to get through the pack on their initial. Meanwhile, Jawbreaker is out. 4 points in the air and just spilling every player and back up themselves, keeping those feet moving. 4 points in the air. Coach telling them to keep running it. It looks like we're going to see Arizona All-Stars just running their jams here for the next few jams. Jawsbreaker out with 4 points in the air. Meanwhile, Major Pain being caught up at the front of the pack with a tripod, just keeping track of them and keeping them in the pinch. Skatey Katie running some offense from the inside to let Jawsbreaker. Ooh, bit of a hard spill to the inside lane. Number 2-1 being sent to the Night Owl penalty box, and Jawsbreaker recovers and gets back out. Stop block being assessed to Arizona's 8-8 Miss Murder to the Night Owl penalty box. So one blocker apiece for each team at this time. Jawsbreaker, meanwhile, working on their next scoring pass. Looks like the star has been passed over to the pivot, number 2-6, Amanda Conda for Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz, no pack call. Pack reforms quickly, but looks like that's Major Pain to the Night Owl penalty box for destruction. Meanwhile, Amanda Conda out on their initial and coming around to get at least a point, but Jaws sees that their coach wants them to call it and calls it in time, keeping Santa Cruz scoreless, and that is a big 20-point jam for Jawsbreaker, bringing up the score to 71, Santa Cruz at 0.
Coming up for jam number 6, we have Hella Naughty for AZRD and Rick the Brick for Santa Cruz. Got the 5-second call. Here they go. Naughty trying to find a way on the inside of the track. Rick the Brick getting caught behind the pack by a nasty triangle there. And Hella Naughty breaks out, gets lead jammer position, while Rick the Brick still having some trouble getting through. AZRD gets knocked out of the track by Minnie Mahler, having to get recycled back. There's a scoring pass for Hella Naughty. Rick still caught up at turn 1, having to keep getting recycled back. There is another scoring pass for Hella Naughty. That's Hella Naughty keeping it rolling, going for, I believe, a 5th pass. We have a pivot active now for Santa Cruz. Pivot now broke out of the pack. Looking like number 149 for Santa Cruz. And there's a directional call on 916 for Santa Cruz. At the end of that jam there, we have 16 points for AZRD, 0 for Santa Cruz, bringing us to 87-0.
We'd like to thank everybody who's in-house and on the stream joining us for this doubleheader between Arizona and Santa Cruz, both A and B teams playing it out today. We've got Soccer Blue for Arizona going up against number 1384 Heloise. Soccer Blue coming out on their first scoring pass, about to hit the pack. Has a two-blocker formation, but quickly changes to the outside lane and swings around. Heloise out on their initial, trying to catch up to the pack to get some points here on the board for Santa Cruz, which has been kept scoreless these past few jams. But Soccer Blue denies them and makes out with 4 points in the air. Arizona now at 91. Santa Cruz kept at 0.
All right, up next, jamming for Santa Cruz, we have Yoni Mitchell and West Coast Mafia for AZRD. There's the 5-second call. And here they go. Yoni Mitchell trying to look up for some space straight down the middle of the track. West Coast trying to go around the outside. Yoni Mitchell getting recycled back by 2-2 from AZRD, Minnie Mahler. And West Coast Mafia gets lead jammer. Yoni Mitchell having some trouble getting past turn 2 here, but manages to do it and gets out of the pack. About half the track behind as Mafia calls it there. That is, looks like 4 points to 0 for that jam for AZRD.
We're now setting at 95 for Arizona All-Stars, 0 for Santa Cruz's Bombshells. We have 17 and a half minutes left in this first half, and we still have a whole second half to go. Timeout for Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz is going to work on strategy for this next jam against Gale Satan with Major Payne at the helm for Santa Cruz. We'd like to thank everybody who is here and all our volunteers who are making this happen, especially our officials who we'd like to give a shout out to. We've got Ms. Behavin' out there along with Sweet and Sour Candy, Fickle Bitch, Say Rar, Velma Deckley, Nerdy Little Secret, Gibby, Notorious, Wolfgang, Kit Ruff, Michelin Scar, Manosar, Dysentery, McWinkle, Hate Bit, Colonel Angus, 80 Gig, and Phoenix. Thank you all for making a roller derby happen and happening.
I'm going to take a quick moment to talk about one of our sponsors, 888, elevating derby safety standards with cutting-edge technology. We're also sponsored by 187 Killer Pads, industrial strength materials, unmatched ergonomic design, and unparalleled excellence. And that's the end of that timeout. I believe that's you.
5-second call. We've got number 710, Gale Satan, going up against 916, Major Payne. Gale Satan working through the center of the pack, gets a little bit caught up in their own teammate, Major Payne, working on the outside, but getting caught up by the defense as Gale Satan pushes her way through for an initial out with lead for Arizona All-Stars. In the confusion of the whistle, Gale Satan gets out untouched on their first scoring pass, and it is a power jam for All-Stars against Gale Satan. Major Payne taking a seat in the Night Owl penalty box. Pack gets pushed up to the second straightaway. We have now hit the century mark. All-Stars at 103, about to be 107. Gale Satan making their scoring pass possible, and coaches asking them to call it, keeping Major Payne standing in the Night Owl penalty box.
All right, for this next jam, we have Soccer Blue and a power start. Here's the 5-second call. AZRD looking to try and make an opening for Soccer Blue. Soccer Blue gets out at turn 2. Santa Cruz's jammer now rejoins. Number 916. Soccer Blue making a scoring pass there. (916) looking to try and pass the cover off, do a pivot thing there, and is successful. Soccer looking to make a third scoring patch. That is a forearm call on one of the team for AZRD. We've now got Catastrophe with the star for Santa Cruz. Both jammers getting knocked off the track, getting recycled back behind the pack there. Soccer almost making her way from the inside. Looked like a little apex jump, but didn't quite make it, having to get recycled back as 4-4 gets put back in for AZRD. Got about 20 seconds left in this jam here. Ooh, hard block from Goldilocks. And that was a directional call on number 2-2 for AZRD at the end of that jam. We got 20 points for AZRD to Santa Cruz's 4, now getting them on the board. Score is 127-4.
Looks like 5-second call. Looks like Arizona is starting with one in the penalty box. So pack advantage for Santa Cruz. We've got Jaws Breaker going up against Rick the Brick. Jaws getting contained towards the outside, but pushing their way through the inside lane and out with the lead, Arizona All-Stars. Meanwhile, Rick the Brick being contained to the outside, but pushes their way to the front after finding some room on the outside lane. Has a 2-blocker formation that they have to get through. Looks like it's going to be Lightning with Skatey Katie, which is a formidable pair, being joined by Zombie Cat. Now that the packs are now closed up, Zombie Cat going in for the kill, but out Rick the Brick on their initial. Jaws Breaker pushing their way through on the inside, gets a nice little whip from Zombie Cat. Looking at their bench, holding and calling it. Four points picked up there by Jaws Breaker, bringing up the score to 131, keeping Santa Cruz at 4 points.
Coming up next, we have Hugh Louise up against Hella Naughty. There's the 5-second call. Here they go. Hugh Louise trying to find some purchase on the inside. Almost gets through. Hella Naughty going straight up the middle. Hella Louise breaks out, gets lead jammer position. Hella Naughty about half the track behind. Hugh Louise getting caught up there at turn 2 and calls it there. That's 3 points for Santa Cruz, 0 for AZRD. That's 31 points to 7.
Santa Cruz excited by the momentum they've been building up. Heloise definitely had a nice scoring pass there. We've got a 5-second call. That's going to be West Coast Mafia going up against number 82, Yoni Mitchell. West Coast looking through the inside and finds a big old space and out with lead. Meanwhile, Yoni Mitchell taking to the inside lane. I'm a Blobaya being sent to the Night Owl penalty box. So pack advantage for Santa Cruz, but Santa Cruz holding up tight at the front. 2 blockers trying to contain Yoni Mitchell. Yoni Mitchell getting some speed, working those feet. Has 2 blockers to go up against. That's Lightning the Queen and Miss Murder, both formidable one-on-one or with another player. But Yoni is pushing them out as far as they can. West Coast being contained. Looks like a high block being assessed instead to Yoni Mitchell in their efforts trying to get out. So this is a power jam for West Coast Mafia. Once they are out, though, with 4 points in the air, their coach recommending that they call off the jam, icing Yoni Mitchell in the Night Owl penalty box.
All right, here we go. For this power start, we have 7-1-0 for AZRD, Gail Satan. AZ looking to really capitalize on this opportunity here. That's a 5-second call. Gail looking to try and find some spot on the outside. Didn't quite get through, but finds a good space on the inside of the track to break through. Coming in for a scoring pass now. Some good offensive jamming there. All collaborated to try and get that window for Gail Satan. Coming in for now a second scoring pass. A back block on one of the blockers for Santa Cruz as 8-2 Yoni Mitchell rejoins the track. Yoni Mitchell getting caught up there at turn 2 as Gail Satan breezes through. Yoni Mitchell almost managing to get all the way out, but getting caught up by Minnie Mahler, having to get recycled back at the very last second there. Gale with an apex jump for another scoring pass. And Sherman getting a forearm call for AZRD, getting sent to the box. Yoni Mitchell looking to try and make a pass off to Catastrophe, getting caught firmly behind Goldilocks in the knockout. But there's the pass, and that's the end of the jam. For 32 points for AZRD to 0 for Santa Cruz, bringing the score to 167-7.
Looks like we got less than 7.5 minutes left in this first half between the All-Stars for Arizona and the Bombshells for Santa Cruz. We've got Soccer Blue going up against Major Payne. Major Payne being knocked to the inside lane and recycled by Miss Murder, just as Soccer Blue finds some room on the outside and gets lead for All-Stars. Their coach telling them to keep running it. It looks like we've still got Major Payne in their initial. Sherman rejoining their pack from the Night Owl penalty box, but it looks like the Jammer star has been passed over to Amanda Conda for Santa Cruz, coming up around for potential scoring pass. They have the star on their helmets, so will they get it? Soccer Blue was wise to the plan and calls off the jam, picking up 8 points in the process and calling it off, bringing up the score to 175, keeping Santa Cruz at 7.
Jamming next, we have 8-4 Jaws Breaker for AZRD and 6-5 Rick the Brick for Santa Cruz. Here they go, both looking to try and make their way up the middle. Jaws finding almost a good opportunity on the outside, manages to get through, get a lead jammer. There's a forearm call on the knockout for AZRD. And that is a pass to the pivot there, number 149, Catastrophe. Jaws makes another scoring pass. Comes Catastrophe on the outside, almost makes it, but ends up getting knocked off the track. Jaws pushing her way up through the middle. Catastrophe. And there's a penalty on 0-1 there. Didn't quite hear what the penalty was for, however. Got about 40 seconds left in this jam. There is a directional call on one of the blockers for Santa Cruz. Jaws Breaker looking to keep it going. Meeting some resistance there on turn 2. But manages to push through nonetheless. Catastrophe having some major trouble. And that's the end of that jam. 16 points for AZRD, 0 for Santa Cruz. 4 for Santa Cruz. The score now 191-11.
Looks like full packs for both teams. 5-second call. Everybody nice and cozy on the jammer line. We've got Hella Naughty going up against Heloise for Santa Cruz. Heloise pushing their way to the front. Hella Naughty being contained in the back. But everybody in a bit of a scrum at turn 1 now, allowing Hella Naughty to get through on the inside lane, out with lead for Arizona All-Stars. Heloise, meanwhile, being contained to the back of the pack. But Santa Cruz being mixed up in that, trying to get some room for Heloise to get through, but Ima just giving a hard shoulder, knocking to them to the inside lane and recycling them. Hella Naughty, meanwhile, picking up a scoring pass, coming around for another scoring pass. Hella Naughty just skips their way through, breaking apart the tripod at the top of the pack for Santa Cruz. Heloise working on the outside, trying to find their offense, but the offense quickly has to turn into defense as Hella Naughty comes around. Oh, Heloise throwing a shoulder, trying to knock Hella Naughty off balance, but Hella Naughty keeping those feet moving, pushing their way through for a scoring pass. Coach Riot telling them to run it. Looks like Heloise is trying to push their way through, going from the in to the out, but met with the defense for All-Stars. But in the momentum of the apex, Heloise gets out on their initial through the inside lane, just as Hella Naughty comes out with another scoring pass. Keeping track of Heloise coming about to hit the pack, gets knocked to the outside. Hella Naughty going around, finds some room on the outside, another scoring pass. We may see the full 2 minutes being played here. Heloise being recycled by Skatey Katie, bringing them up to Ima Blowbaya and Zombie Cat. Oh, but Heloise spins Skatey Katie out of the way. But Ima Blobaya just tracking them with their hips, gets knocked to the outside. Eloise going back with Ima just as the jam is over. Naughty picking up the last 2 points that they can get in those last few seconds. 24-point jam for Hella Naughty to the 2 points that Heloise picked up. We are now sitting at 2:15 for Arizona and 13 points for Santa Cruz Bombshells.
Jamming next, we got Soccer Blue for AZRD and Yoni Mitchell for Santa Cruz. Roughly about a minute left in this period. Soccer Blue finding their way on the outside, gets lead jammer. Hugh Louise once again getting caught up there at turn 1, but manages to break out there at turn 2. Soccer Blue just about through with that first scoring pass. Here comes Heel Louise trying to score some points for Santa Cruz. Soccer Blue rejoining the fray, making her way clear through. Soccer Blue coming for another pass, gets knocked out by Ace Ventura. But manages to make it all the way through for another scoring pass. Yoni Mitchell still having some trouble on this initial pass, or on the initial scoring pass. Getting caught out behind some nasty tripods. And Soccer Blue taking the opportunity while their blockers are trying to get a bit more offensive. It slips right on by. And that's the end of that jam. Also the end of that first half. We got a 27-point jam for AZRD, a 4-point jam for Santa Cruz. We leave this first half at the score of 242-17.
We are now at intermission, so if you are in-house, please check out our merch outside. Also some coffee out there as well by Luz. And I believe there is a truck outside too, but come back for the second half of this game between the Bombshells and Arizona All-Stars. We will see you in 15 minutes. From intermission, we got 2.5 minutes left. Teams are back together and getting ready to go. So in 2 minutes, we're back to the action. Grab your seats. Make sure you got your water ready, and we'll get into the action here soon enough. All right, welcome back to the Saturday doubleheader here in Mesa, Arizona, hosted by Arizona Roller Derby. We're going up against Santa Cruz out of California, going up against our All-Stars, and after this game, it'll be Santa Cruz going up against Arizona Rising. The story so far, we've got AZRD All-Stars at 242 to Santa Cruz's number 17 in this first half. Now we're going into the second half refreshed with a new plan and ready to go. Teams have switched benches, and their new feng shui may give them new energy here. So we'll see what's going to happen in this second half. I'm excited. Are you excited? Who's here for Arizona?
Now my mic's on, I can tell you how excited I am.
Are you excited?
I'm actually quite excited.
All right. I accept it because it is pretty early still. I think the coffee's working on me. Whoops. Anyways, who do we got on the track?
Well, all right, we got Rick the Brick up against Soccer Blue. Here they go, Soccer Blue looking to take the inside. Manages to break through, get lead jammer. Rick the Brick getting caught up before turn one there. Rick still working through as Soccer comes to make a scoring pass. Wide open spaces for Soccer to get full scoring pass there. Rick just about all the way out. And gets recycled back by Zombie Cat. And Soccer Blue makes a scoring pass. Rick the Brick having to go up against a whole wall of AZRD. As Santa Cruz goes to try and stop Soccer from her momentum. Can't quite get enough purchase. There's another pass for Soccer Blue. Miss Murder getting Rick the Brick off the track as the pivot is now active for Santa Cruz. We've got Amanda Conda with the star now. And Soccer Blue calls it there, scoring 18 points for AZRD. Nothing for Santa Cruz this jam. Pardon me, 16 points. You're welcome.
All right, everybody, nice and cozy on the jammer line. We've got West Coast Mafia going up against Heloise for Santa Cruz. Heloise, nice in position behind their teammates. Goldie Knox going in for the hit. West Coast going side to side, trying to find some room, but the pivot number 149, that is Catastrophe, trying to contain West Coast Mafia. West Coast Mafia, though, pushes their way through on the inside lane and is out on their initial, but Heloise hot on their tail. Heloise coming around along with West Coast Mafia, about to hit the pack here at the back. Heloise also coming around. Ooh, both almost out on the outside lane, but West Coast Mafia out 4 points in the air. Heloise, meanwhile, recycled by that Sherman, but Sherman gets taken out by number 4-1 from Santa Cruz, allowing Heloise out for 4 points. West Coast Mafia is skating backwards and out with 4 points in the air as Heloise barrels their way through the 2-blocker defense for Arizona All-Stars. Looks like Cherry Kiss is back from the Night Owl penalty box. Should be followed closely behind by their other teammate. And now that the box is empty, the coaches call the jam with the help of their jammer. West Coast picking up 11 points, and looks like Heloise picked up 8. So we are now sitting at 269 to Santa Cruz's 25. Telling you, feng shui is everything. Little movement, little motion. You see these points start racking up.
Coming up next, we got Yoni Mitchell for Santa Cruz up against Gail Satan for AZRD. Here they go. Gail Satan finding some purchase along the outside of the track. Doesn't quite make it, though, until now. There we go. Breaks out, gets the lead jammer position. There's a high block on Yoni Mitchell. That is now a power jam for Gail Satan. There you go. There's a first scoring pass. AZRD showing some fantastic teamwork, making up an opening for Gail Satan for that second pass, coming in for a third. There we go. Gail this time going on the inside of the track, heading for a fourth. Yoni Mitchell now re-entering the track. Ooh, getting a hard block from 95 from AZRD. Miss Murder now back. Gail Satan passing through one more time. Got about 45 seconds left in this jam. Looking like Gail's going to be going for the full time here. Lightning the Queen giving Yoni Mitchell the business, keeping her off the track. There we go. Yoni Mitchell finally breaking out, coming in for now a scoring pass. But there we go. Gail calls it there. That is 25 points for AZRD, bringing them to 294. 0 points for Santa Cruz, keeping them at 25.
Five-second call on the track. We've got Soccer Blue, number 12 for Arizona, going up against 916, Major Payne for Santa Cruz. Nice little blow up from Santa Cruz, taking out Cherry Kiss. Cherry Kiss picks themselves back up and gets in front of Major Payne. Major Payne trying to find their pivot as Soccer Blue is coming around for their scoring pass after being assessed lead for Arizona. Soccer Blue skipping their way through the inside lane. Major Payne getting contained by Sherman and Cherry Kiss. Looks like Cherry Kiss is being sent to the Night Owl penalty box. But Sherman joined by the knockout, working on containing Major Payne. Major Payne being recycled as they're taken back here in turn one. Soccer Blue working those edges, pushing their way forward out with the scoring pass. We have reached the 300 mark for Arizona. The star has been passed on to Fifi for Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz catching up here, getting close to those skaters, picking up some speed, but that speed went against them. Sherman knocking Fifi out to the outside lane, but for their efforts, Sherman being sent to the Night Owl penalty box for a penalty. Fifi out with 4 points in the air for Santa Cruz. Soccer Blue working on their next scoring pass. Looks like 20 points being picked up so far. Fifi now working the outside, but getting caught up in the defense momentum at the apex. Oh, a little bit of a traffic jam there, but everybody back on the track. Soccer Blue being recycled to the back of the pack. Tripod trying to work on containing Soccer Blue, being knocked to the inside and recycled by Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz maintaining pack definition. And that is Fifi out for 4 points again for Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz picking up some momentum here on this track. Soccer Blue picking up the last 4 points of the jam. We are now sitting at 318 for Arizona All-Stars, 433 for Santa Cruz. We've got 21 minutes left in this second half. Plenty of time to make up more points here.
All right, coming into this jam, we got Rick the Brick for Santa Cruz up against Jaws Breaker for AZRD. Both jammers looking to try and make their way on the inside. Not quite finding the purchase they need. Jaws Breaker gets lead jammer position there out at turn 2, coming in for a scoring pass. Rick the Brick still having some trouble getting through. Katie, I believe, getting an illegal contact penalty as Jaws ends that jam there. That is 4 points for Arizona RD to 0 for Santa Cruz. The score is now 3-2-2 to 3-3.
Thank you, Manosaur, for checking out that little bit of a picked up track there on the edge of the apex. Got to keep these lines clean and defined for Helenati and Heloise on the track. Helenati pushing their way up to the front as Heloise is being knocked to the inside lane. Kept contained by the defensive tripod for the All-Stars. All-Stars going up against the offense from Santa Cruz, breaking apart that tripod, but something they got to remember, Mimi and Sherman on their own are dangerous. Meanwhile, Helenati coming around for a scoring pass after being assigned lead. Pushing their way through, but Helenati gets a cut track. This is a power jam for Heloise. Santa Cruz now having to capitalize on this power jam. Heloise trying to go back to get some speed and momentum. Sherman tracking them though. Sherman trying to get them contained, but Heloise slides right past them and now out on the inside lane. Heloise out on their initial, coming around for a scoring pass. Santa Cruz getting set up for a nice sweep from the inside. Heloise pushing them out. Santa Cruz going in for the offense, but Goldie knocks on the plug. Helenati now back from the Night Owl penalty box, finds some room on the inside lane and out with 4 points. Heloise, meanwhile, being contained by the defensive formation, triple threats. Santa Cruz working on their own triple threat in the back of the pack. Helenati getting a forearm call, so the power jam is now being extended for Santa Cruz. This is definitely a good opportunity for Heloise to get some nice offense from their team. Got to contain someone, Mimi or Sherman, because they have Heloise's number. Got to break apart that pack. Heloise being knocked to the outside lane. Number 4444, Two Spirit knocks number 4 Sherman out of the way, knowing they Did some work out there. Good job, guys. That is going to be 3 points in the air for Santa Cruz. 6 points for Helenati. This brings up the score to 328 for AZ All-Stars and 36 for Santa Cruz. Helenati still standing at the Night Owl penalty box, so this is a power start.
And for that power start, Santa Cruz has got Yoni Mitchell. Yoni looking to try and find some purchase, but having some trouble getting recycled back by Miss Murder, number 88 for AZRD. Helenati rejoins the track and pops through, gets lead jammer in no time. Yoni having some trouble there at turn 1. Both jammers getting recycled back, having some trouble there, but it seems Nadi's continuing to push through, gets kicked off the track one more time. And then jams called there. That is 4 points for AZRD, bringing them to 332 to 36.
Have you been following our posts on social media? If not, make sure you give us a follow on Instagram at Arizona Roller Derby for all the juicy details of what we're up to, including this game where we're posting live. That's going to be West Coast Mafia for AZRD going up against number 916, Major Payne. Major Payne contained to the back of the pack, taking off the star as West Coast Mafia is assigned lead. West Coast coming around for his scoring pass. Number 88 and number 41 going up against West Coast Mafia, who takes the outside and out. Coach Wright telling them to continue to run it. Looks like the star has been passed over to Fifi for Santa Cruz. Fifi working their way up to the front, splitting up that Arizona pack. Still a tripod to get through, but now just splitting up the seams, going up against Cherry Kiss at the end and pushing their way through. Fifi out on their initial. Just as they come around to get the star on, West Coast Mafia picks up those 4 points and calls off the jam. That is 8-point jam, bringing up the score to 340 for the All-Stars, keeping Santa Cruz at 36.
Coming up next, we got Rick the Brick up against Gail Satan. Here's the 5-second call. And here they go. Rick trying to find some purchase on the outside, getting caught behind a tripod. Gail slip sliding all the way around turn number 1, trying to find any kind of purchase. There's a forearm penalty on 95 for Santa Cruz. Splendora. Gail Satan's coming in for a scoring pass. And we now have a low block on Gail Satan. Power jam for Santa Cruz, who has made their pivot pass. We've got Amanda Conda trying with her might to push through this AZRD tripod. Getting recycled back by Zombie Cat. Trying to find any purchase to make through. Getting recycled back one more time as Gail Satan is now rejoining the track. Gail making a scoring pass, getting 4 points for AZRD there. Amanda Conda still having trouble. A little bit of a pile up as both jammers have to recycle back. Gail second for a pass. Maniconda looking to have some lace trouble. Taking an opportunity to make sure that everything's all right. She rejoins. And that's the end of that jam. We've got 11 to 4. Santa Cruz getting 4 points, taking them to 40. AZRD 11 points, bringing them to 351.
Five-second call. Looks like the packs are nice and tight up against the jammer line. We've got Soccer Blue going up against Heloise. Both jammers being pushed to the outside lane, but Soccer Blue cutting through the in, tiptoeing to the out, pushing their way up to the front, has one to beat, and out with lead is Soccer Blue for Arizona. Meanwhile, Heloise trying to find their room on the outside, but gets recycled. Being quickly tracked by Cherry Kiss and Sherman. Power of the number 4 with the knockout. Ace Ventura going in for some offense here. Heloise using their teammate to barrel through and find some room on the outside lane and out on their initial. That is Heloise coming around. We got Soccer Blue coming around for another scoring pass. Oh! Double hit from each side, knocking down Heloise, but quickly gets back up and tries to run some jammer offense to get Soccer Blue out on the inside lane. Both get recycled back. Heloise has a little bit of a spill, but gets back up. Soccer Blue working on their edges here, but gets a little bit resistance here from Ace Ventura, and looks like Tornado Two Spirit. Soccer Blue being recycled to the back of the pack as Heloise is trying to work their hips through that tripod at the front of the pack. Mimi holding position to keep that bridge going, as looks like Heloise is pushing that pack forward to split them up, forcing Arizona All-Stars to bridge. That momentum, slow but grinding, is allowing Heloise to get through. Heloise only has one more to beat. Cherry Kiss trying their best to hold them back. Heloise spinning around, trying to find some purchase, pushing them out as far as they can. And out. Forearm at the last second being assessed to Cherry Kiss, being sent to the Night Owl penalty box just as Heloise made those 4 points count. 8 points being picked out by Arizona. Let's see, no, 11 points. So AZRD currently standing at 362 to Santa Cruz's 44. This is an official timeout, I believe. Yes, an official timeout. They just need a break. A lot of action going on the track.
And take this quick opportunity to talk about Night Owl and the Night Owl penalty box. Our goal there is to provide superb New York-style pizza by the slice and smash burgers within a warm and eclectic atmosphere served by friendly and welcoming staff there at Night Owl. I like that place. They've got good cocktails. I'm Night Owl. You just did that.
Do you have a business that we can promote? AZRD offers several types of sponsorship opportunities, from sponsoring a single game to our upcoming tournaments. So if you want your name to be shout out on the stream or in-house, reach out to Arizona.
Coming up next, we got Yoni Mitchell and Jaws Breaker. Both jammers trying to muscle their way through the middle there. Jaws Breaker getting recycled back by 21. The pivot for Santa Cruz. Finds an opportunity on the outside of the track to get the lead jammer. Yoni Mitchell having some trouble, but manages to get through. Got about half the track to catch up. Here comes Louise hoping for a scoring pass. And try and get some points. Gets knocked off the track by number 95, AZRD. Jaws Breaker coming through for a scoring pass. Coming in for her second. Jaws breaks through for her second. Now coming through for her third, Yoni Mitchell getting the business from Cherry Kiss. Now she has to get through this tripod almost all the way through at turn 4. Here comes Jaws Breaker, also now caught between a tripod at turn 4. Whole lot of energy and effort getting used here. Jaws Breaker gets through, coming in for her 4th scoring pass. Here we go, number 4. Yoni manages to break out. I believe that's 4 points for Santa Cruz. That's the end of that jam. There's 12 points for Arizona Roller Derby. 16 points for Arizona Roller Derby. 4 points for Santa Cruz. Score now 377 to 44.
We've got 8 minutes left in this jam, second half. And we are getting ready for this matchup between Major Payne and Helenati. Helenati picking up those feet and pushing their way up to the front. No pack call, allowing Helenati through for their lead in the jam. Major Payne working the front of the pack now. Santa Cruz on full defense, trying to contain Helenati. Helenati in the tripod, but pushing their way around, keeping close to that pack. Mimi throwing some offense from the inside, breaking up the pack, allowing Helenati to get through the inside, but at the last second it gets knocked out by Fifi. Fifi recycling them into that tripod with Ace Ventura and number 4-1, I believe that's Queen Litigious. Number 9-5, Splendora being sent to the Night Owl penalty box. Sherman, number 4 for Arizona, throwing some offense. Forearm being assessed to Helenati. So this is a power jam for Santa Cruz. Major Payne working on that tripod at the front of the pack. A little bit of a standstill here at turn 2. Santa Cruz trying to go in for the offense, but Goldie Knox running the plug, trying to make sure that that sweep from the inside does not work. Pretty successful so far. It looks like Sherman has in their sights Major Payne. So penalty kill, it was successful. Helenati out of the Night Owl penalty box and back on the track, but met with the tripod at the back of the pack. Ace Ventura keeping track of Helenati, but slips their way on the outside lane. Out is Helenati with 4 points in the air. Major Payne, meanwhile, still working on their initial. Being contained at the top of the pack. And knocked out by Mimi Mahler to the outside lane and recycled quickly. Knockout working on that walk up here. And that's the end of the 2-minute jam. The end of that jam, we have 5 points being picked up by Arizona All-Stars, bringing up the score to 382. Santa Cruz at 44 still. We have less than 6 minutes left in this second half.
Here we go. Santa Cruz calling a timeout. I'm going to take a quick moment. Could be following us on social media at AZRD at AZ Roller Derby on Instagram for all the juicy details and stuff that the AZRD team is up to.
And if you're looking to support the league, there is some merch in the front lobby. In between games, go check out our merch. We do have new designs, different merch, sweaters, shirts, stickers, patches, pins, anything that you want to do to sport roller derby in your life. We also have a food truck out in the front in I believe that's a chicken, killer chicken. It's a chicken
believe
place.
so. The med team over there has chicken that I've been coveting this entire game, so I believe it's chicken.
Yes. Chicken and fries. If you're hungry in between games,
All right.
go ahead.
End of that timeout. Looks like we got Soccer Blue jamming for AZRD up against Rick the Brick. Nice words of encouragement from Rick's team there. Rick getting caught up at the very end there. Soccer Blue just about on her way out. There she is getting lead jammer. Rick the Brick having some trouble there at turn 1. Soccer Blue getting caught up behind a tripod but makes short work of it. Number 24 for AZRD knocking Rick the Brick off the track, having to recycle back. There's a scoring pass for Soccer Blue. Nice apex jump for a second scoring pass. Rick the Brick looking to possibly make a pass off to the pivot, but having some trouble getting there behind that wall that AZRD's putting up. Soccer makes it, doesn't quite make it through, actually gets knocked off the track there, having to get recycled back. Rick's still keeping it pushing, fighting for every inch. Soccer calls it there. That is 11 points for AZRD, getting them to 393. 0 points for Cruz. They are at 44.
Winding down in the second half, we have less than 4 minutes left. 5-second call on the track. Both teams nice and tight up against the jammer line. That is going to be West Coast Mafia going up against Heloise. Both pretty pushy and strong jammers here. West Coast Mafia picking up some momentum, gets out on the outside lane, getting lead for All-Stars. Heloise, meanwhile, being contained to the outside by the Arizona All-Stars. Bit of a whistle. Direction call being called on Ace Ventura from Santa Cruz. Sent to the Night Owl penalty box. Meanwhile, we have West Coast Mafia going up against Heloise. Heloise out on their initial, following West Coast Mafia closely behind. Their bench calling it. Ooh. Someone being assessed a late call. Direction looks like that'll be number 01, Goldilocks, sent to the Night Owl penalty box. So it's going to be a 3 versus 3 jam on the track.
For that jam, we got Yoni Mitchell up against Gail Satan. Got about 2.5 minutes left in this second half. Here they go. Both pushing their way up through the middle. And Gail Satan getting called on a multiplayer penalty, now putting Santa Cruz in a power jam. Yanni Mitchell trying to take an opportunity there as the fourth blocker now rejoins the track for Santa Cruz. Fourth blocker for AZRD just joined on the track as well. There goes Yoni Mitchell on almost a scoring pass. Ends up getting kicked off into the inside of the track, having to recycle back. Gail Satan rejoins. And there we go. Yoni Mitchell calling that. Scoring 4 points for Santa Cruz, bringing them up to 48. No points for Arizona. That jam, they stay at 400.
Got 5 seconds being called. Santa Cruz taking the top of the pack, going up against Jaws Breaker and Major Pain for Santa Cruz. Jaws Breaker breaking through the front of the pack, out with lead for Arizona. Major Pain taken to the inside lane by Mimi Mahler, walking then up to Cherry Kiss and the knockout. Meanwhile, Sherman working on splitting up the pack, making sure nobody runs in for some offense. Jaws Breaker now coming up against the Santa Cruz tripod at the back of the pack. Santa Cruz tracking Jaws Breaker, but Jaws Breaker finds some room on the outside and quickly cuts back through the center and out with 4 points in the air. Meanwhile, Fifi has jammer duties now, working on pushing the pack forward to split them up, working on a bridge and finds room on the outside lane, picking up 4 points for Santa Cruz. Jaws Breaker working on that last scoring pass and calls off the jam, and that is our unofficial end. 12 points being picked up by Jaws Breaker to end